My son was born in the spring, and somehow it's already the fall. His bedroom has been sitting mostly empty, as he's been sleeping in a crib in our room. A kid's room is their own little world, a playful space where tiny hands explore, wonder grows, and whispered goodnights comfort sleepy eyes. It's the backdrop to our most special moments of connection. I think when I became a parent, suddenly, for the first time in my life, I felt myself trying to slow down time, trying to preserve everything for just a moment longer. Everything changes so quickly, and I've realized we simply don't have forever. Creating this bedroom bit by bit while focusing on philosophy and Montessori inspiration along the way has been an ode to cultivating beauty and joy. From the beginning, I knew I wanted an accent wall. We decided on a mountain theme. I made a rough design using CAD. And then we went and bought 1x2s. There's something so warm about real wood with grain, and I thought it was fitting for a nature-themed wall. I mapped out a few key points on the wall to stick as closely as possible to the design. And then the process of building the wall was a back and forth between measuring, cutting the wood pieces, and then securing them to the wall with nails. The first 10 wood boards outlined the major peaks, and those took the longest time. But after that, it moved along a lot faster. I kept regularly leaving during this build process to take care of the baby, and I reminded myself that it's okay to do things slowly and embrace happy interruptions. It's not about speed and perfection. It's about learning as we go and making progress in the little pockets of time we get. A few boards were too short to cross any studs in the wall, so those boards were secured using drywall anchors and screws. At the beginning of this entire room makeover, I came across this quote from the philosopher Goethe. He said that the only two lasting gifts we can give our children are roots and wings. So I asked myself, how can a space support roots and also support growing wings? Seen through this lens, even the simplest items carry a story. A floating hot air balloon or glow-in-the-dark star can transport us to a place of awe. They become tiny invitations to imagine. The well-loved reading pillow and penguin plushie become a source of comfort, a soft reminder of those hazy moments when bedtime stories drift into sleep. Once the accent wall was up, we started prepping to paint the whole room. For the walls, the plan is for most of the room to have a two-toned sage green color, with the mountain accent wall being a deeper earthy green. We masked off all edges and molding and did a thin coat of the existing white wall color over the tape to get a sharp line. After that, I went in with the sage green paint. I'm using Zero VOC Clear paints for this space. Green is the color of nature and it will never go out of style. At least for me personally. It has such a soothing, grounding energy to me. I bought these plain white hot air balloons for hanging decor above the crib. I pulled out my acrylic paints and mixed a pale sky blue color for the vertical stripes. And then I decorated these with rope and jute on the ribbing. And finally, it was time to paint the accent wall. While painting, I had to pay extra attention to the bottom sides of the wood. I kept crouching on the floor and looking up to see if I missed any spots. And at some point in the painting process, We noticed there were some joints and spots along the wall where the wood filler had built up. So my husband went back in with an orbital sander to really smooth out the entire surface. And that made a big difference. So this hot air balloon ended up taking way more work than I expected. I think since I used such thick rope, every single cut was time consuming. And I sealed the cut ends with hot glue as well so they wouldn't unravel. But I think it was so worth it for how it turned out in the end. So whimsical and fun. I love how the sage green and darker green tones came together. My favorite part of this accent wall is how its 3D nature plays with the light. It feels alive because it looks subtly different depending on the time of day. The cast shadows change in angle and opacity, which I think is so cool. Throughout this process, I had been capturing snippets of my decor ideas and thoughts in my little pocket journal, which I'll talk more about in my next video. To start, we got a 100% cotton rug for this room. While this looks like a neutral cream from afar, I love all the little pops of color up close. It's so fun and there are endless little details to be found. And then we put together a little reading nook with storage for books and toys. I like the Montessori philosophy of curating child-size environments and keeping furniture at the kids' height. This gives them more autonomy and responsibility. They can choose what book or activity to engage in, and they learn to return items to their home and pick up after themselves. So next up are these felt pennant flags. Materials have mattered a lot to me throughout this process. For the larger furniture, I looked for Green Guard certification, and I stuck to natural materials everywhere else, like cotton, linen, and jute. We got this play tent for the corner under the window as a cozy spot to curl up and read. I love secluded little spots like this. They feel like a secret getaway, a space to just exist with yourself. This fits in beautifully with the Montessori principles of independence and respecting a child's needs. A prepared child-sized space like this is a small world within a larger one. Okay, this banner is a favorite of mine. It's a simple reminder for kids and adults alike that effort matters more than outcome. This is how to build a growth mindset by embracing challenges instead of clinging to safe labels and given titles. As the room really started to come together, I found myself thinking about what makes a space feel like home and rooted in belonging. And immediately my mind went to the Wholehearted Parenting Manifesto by Brené Brown. Every line of it holds so much truth, but I found myself drawn to two sections in particular. We will laugh and sing and dance and create. We will always have permission to be ourselves with each other. No matter what, you will always belong here. I will not teach or love or show you anything perfectly, but I will let you see me, and I will always hold sacred the gift of seeing you. Truly, deeply seeing you. The final room is so much warmer and cozier than I ever even imagined. All of the natural textiles, the mountain accent wall, and the layering of greens and blues really bring nature indoors. And the decor feels so playful. When the time is right, the front face of this crib will be swapped out for a low railing, converting this into a toddler bed with independent access. The lower drawers of this dresser will have a pared down selection of clothes, so my son can see all of his options and pick out what he wants to wear. This room has west-facing windows, so my favorite time to be in here is late afternoon, just soaking in the sunset rays. And something that surprised me is how much bigger this room feels now compared to when it was mostly empty and unfurnished. It's been some time now since we finished up this room, and both me and my husband love spending time in here and playing with our son. I know this room will continue to evolve and change as I learn more about my son and his growing interests.